Hi, and welcome to today's webinar. We are going to be talking about migrating from Dynamics GP to Dynamics 365 Business Central. My name is Tara Cox, and I think I know most of you guys. We are all long-term users of GP. And looking through the registrar list, I think I've worked with most of you guys for a long time. So I've been here with Trendsoft since the very beginning of GP, back before Microsoft bought it. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about our journey from where we are now with Dynamics GP to where we need to go in the next few years. I think all of you guys probably saw the announcement last week of the end of year or end of life for Dynamics GP. So today we're going to cover a little bit about planning for that end of year life. We're going to talk about the dates, what are your options, and how Trendsoft's going to walk beside each of you guys. And we're going to discover the best solution for your organization, whether it be stay on GP, migrate to BC, which we highly recommend, or something else. So today we're going to really concentrate on the D365 Business Central versus Dynamics GP. You'll hear me today say Dynamics 365 BC, Business Central, but I'll probably refer to it a lot as BC because Microsoft, they make it utterly confusing of their products. And Dynamics 365 Business Central is a mouthful, so I'll probably refer to it as BC a lot. We'll talk to you a little bit about your benefits of implementing the BC and then what you need to be doing now to prepare for that implementation. So let's get right into it. As you probably know, on September 25th of this year, Microsoft made it official. They set out the end of life date for GP, and it's going to be in September of 2029. So that does sound like a long way away, but you and I both know the years fly by. So we want to start to plan now. A couple of key dates that I wanted you to take away from this webinar is going forward in April 1st of 2025, there's going to be no new perpetual users for GP. So Trendsoft cannot go out and have a new client be on GP and sell them perpetual licensing. A year later from that, we can't even sell subscription-based licensing or hosted licensing to them. So, and then another key date is, of course, September 30th, 2029. That's when they're pretty much going to call it quits. They're not going to make any more enhancements to GP. They will do a couple of bug fixes and maybe security patches up until 3031, but 2029 is basically the end of the road. Now, if you guys have used GP for any length of time, you know that the past few years, we haven't seen great enhancements in GP. It's been kind of some bug fixes, some hot fixes, tax updates, things like that, but we haven't really seen any major improvements. So that's not shocking that they have stopped doing that because like you're going to see in current and future slides, they're putting all their money into Dynamics 365 Business Central. So what do those dates mean to you? What we really want to convey during this webinar today is when you need to start planning to migrate. And we at Trendsoft think the time is now. We don't need to do anything today or next week, next year, maybe even not in a couple of years, but we need to plan. We need to start mapping out what you're going to do in the next 5 years because you're not going to have a solution backed by Microsoft any longer. Now, Trendsoft's not going anywhere and we will take care of you, but we want to have a solid foundation in place of where you're going to be in the next few years. So that we need you guys to start planning as soon as possible just to get kind of a game show. Now, I know that most of you guys have heard of Business Central, but I'm not sure if you've seen it, if you know it's in place. And I get asked this all of the time when we start talking about this is basically, hey, isn't Business Central just an upgrade or an enhancement of BC? Is it a quick upgrade? Is it a quick migration? And the answer is no. Business Central is not the same as GP. It is a new ERP solution. It's a new implementation. And I can't stress this enough. We don't want you to panic, but it is a new implementation and we want you to be prepared because quite frankly, there have been people in the past that we've heard about and that we've seen that do think it's just a quick little jump and you're on a new system. but we need to be really prepared. We need to be trained. We need to test. It is a new system, and we need to have everybody on board with that and set those expectations. So I am going to send out this slide deck to anybody who is interested. Just shoot me an email. And the only reason I put this slide in here is because I want you to be able to go in there and use the BC YouTube channel, and they have a pretty good comparison of how you do things today in GP compared to how you will do things later on in BC. You will see it's not a one-to-one match, that you're going to have to manipulate a little bit, kind of a little bit of pecking around at first until you get used to it. But it is a very intuitive product. We used GP internally years ago. We switched to NAV, what BC, the evolution of NAV is BC down the road. We switched to NAV and then BC. So we've used it all internally, and I think that BC is a very intuitive product and has a great help section, and it's just a really good product. And I want you to take a look at the processes that you do today in GP compared to BC. And again, this deck here will help you get to that. I think a lot of people are a little bit hesitant to go to the cloud, especially my GP users, because they've been on-prem for so long and they have just had a very trusted solution. They've been using GP for so long. But BC is a completely cloud-based product. It's hosted. So we need to address the fact of the savings that you're going to have as far as infrastructure goes. You don't need costly servers anymore. It will allow your IT team, or if you don't have an IT team, it'll free up some of your people that have been designated IT people, but it will allow your IT team to maybe concentrate on doing some other things around your business to make your business more efficient than break fix support on the servers, upgrading servers, and all that kind of good stuff. That will take away that cost. There are a couple of disadvantages of having the on-prem server, as far as outages with, electrical outages, servers going down. I know in GP, a lot of times people get kicked out of the system. You get batch hung, you got to kick yourself out, you've got to have somebody come in and kick you out. You don't have that anymore with the cloud. You don't, even if you're hosting your GPs, which I know some of you guys are today, sometimes you have to RDP in, you have to VPN in. With Dynamics 365 BC, it's a URL. You basically can work anytime, anywhere. You have your URL with security, you're in. And so it allows you to work smarter, while allows you to work safer and more compliant, because you have Microsoft's backing. You have the Microsoft experts and that team of experts who are monitoring the solution all of the time. So it's just very secure. You can rest assured that you have the most secure system that you can possibly have without everything on your server. Now you may be asking, why Business Central? Why? There's a lot of options out there. If I'm going to have to migrate off a GP, if my end of life GP is going away, why Business Central? Well, it is a very valid, great product for you to look into. If I were you and I was in your organization, I would take a hard look at BC, because most of you guys, I know you guys, you are current on your enhancement program with GP, and that was going to migrate you into the BC family. You're going to have your licenses. This also, BC is super flexible, scalable, so you can have users. If you need to add users during your peak time, take away users during your downtime. It can save you money there. It's very flexible, very scalable. It works seamlessly with the Microsoft products. I know most of you guys are Microsoft shops. You use your Office, you have your Teams, you have all of your Microsoft products. That will play very nicely with BC. You're going to love the Excel integrations, the Word, the documents. All of it plays nicely. Your Microsoft 365 sales, like I said, Teams, Outlook. It's going to look familiar to you, this BC, and it plays nice with Microsoft, obviously. Again, I mentioned this just in passing. Microsoft is putting so much money into BC R&D. I just spent a week at Summit a couple of weeks ago. There was so much BC content where back in the days it was GP, it was all GP. It's all BC now. They're putting all of their money into BC. So you can feel really assured that this is a product that they are really investing in for your future. All right, just a couple of other slides I wanted to show you why Business Central. Again, I just mentioned BC is relatively young. I think it was probably 6, 7 years ago, maybe a little bit more. But already today, they have 40,000 businesses running BC. It's in 170 countries, and they have what they call an app source store. It's basically all of your third parties that you use for GP. You can go in and pick and choose. You don't have to go through partner channels anymore for some, but you can go in there and say, I need a credit card solution. You can go in there and take a look at them, take a look at reviews, and basically download it. It's like an app store. And that they have, I think, over 6,000 apps on there. But with that being said, I do want to say, I know a lot of you on here, you're running a lot of third parties with GP. You know, you've got your E1, your Green Shade, your McCorma, your Binary Stream. You have all of these built-ons with your GP solution. With BC, you don't have to have a lot of those. In fact, most of our clients maybe have one, maybe two ISVs, but a lot of them don't have any. They're just running BC because it works. It's an all-inclusive package. It's in the cloud, and they don't have to have all of those additional products integrated. So again, you'll have this slide deck. You can check out all the URLs on there about the learning, about documentation, about the App Store, and all that kind of good stuff. So take a look on that if you have time. Again, a couple more slides on why Business Central, why it is such a viable product to take a look at. We talked about the Outlook, the Teams, the Excel integration. Again, you're going to see in Business Central, it looks and feels like Microsoft. If you're familiar and you're running Outlook every day, you're going to see some similarities in the BC culture. One good thing I didn't mention before is the AI and the Copilot. Copilot is built in to BC. You can get prompts and it's really cool. So I do think you should take a look at it, and I think it will kind of wow some of your decision makers. Again, this slide is pretty crazy busy, and I don't expect you to even read all that or even be able to see all that. But again, I want you to have this in the slide deck. It gives you all the capabilities in BC. You know, GP, if you guys go back a long ways with me, you remember the days of when we kind of picked and choose what we want. We'd say, we want financials, we want sales, we want AP. Nowadays with GP, you get kind of everything, but in BC, you truly get everything. It has project management, which used to be called jobs. It's got manufacturing, it's got warehouse management, supply chain. It's got everything. But you don't have to see all of that. You have access to everything, or you have the ability to have access to everything. But we can pick and choose what we want to see based on permissions. It can be very personalized and very customized to look and feel the way you want to work, or the way your AP clerk wants to work, or the way your warehouse management wants to work. We can make it designed strictly for you. You will have all the capabilities, but you don't have to see anything. You make it very personalized, and it works directly with you. Instead of making GP kind of fit your processes and fit your company, BC will just basically be there. You kind of make it fit. You kind of make it just incorporate your organization. You make it the way you want to make the way your organization runs, if I can get it out. So yeah, it's really personalized and it's really good. So check out the slide when you get the deck. Again, Copilot, Copilot, Copilot. That was the big buzz a couple weeks ago at Summit. So it's NBC. It's pretty awesome, and I do hope that you'll take it out. You'll take a look at it. We have a couple Copilot webinars too. If you'd like those on demand, just feel free to put a note in the chat and we'll send those to you, because we have been using it a lot here at Trendsoft, and we're really trying to get our clients on board with that awesome product. All right, just a couple other slides, to offer subscription billing And then Business Central, one thing I did want to bring up, and again, we have a couple of webinars on demand about this, but Power BI. We have a Power BI team here at Trendsoft that can really help you with your reporting because, quite frankly, reporting has been kind of lax in BC. Our clients haven't loved it. We haven't loved it. But just a little bit ago, it was announced that there are over 70 reports, canned reports, built-in reports in Business Central. And our team has developed hacks of Power BI reports to help you run your business. So reporting is getting better. And this is just really big news, and it's a really awesome opportunity for you guys to take advantage of reporting for your company in Business Central. And Business Central also has sustainability tracking with role centers, scorecards, goals. Your sales team, people are just going to really, really like this product. And again, we can go into much deeper details about that later. So one slide I wanted to concentrate on today, though, is part of our plan with you guys and why I wanted to chat with you today is we want to come alongside you, help you make the best decision for your organization. So when we have the phone conversation or the in-person meeting about, hey, what are we going to do here in a few years, guys? What are we going to do with this GP? We want to do a kind of a total economic impact study with you guys. We want to make sure we show you the ROI, your return on investment, because quite frankly, it's an investment. Now you will have the software, you will have the BC licenses, but like I said, and I've kept harping on, you're probably sick of hearing me saying it, it's a new implementation. It's a new product. It's not just an upgrade. So there is a cost associated with it. But we will take into consideration that there are no more server costs, that you're grandfathered in with the licensing. So there's no more, there's no cost for software. There's not a lot of break fix support issues. So with that, we will have an implementation plan in place, and we want to show you how you will be paid back from your BC implementation and your investment. So I've talked a whole lot and I've kind of spewed things at you. BC, BC, BC. But what I want to do is just kind of take a pause, give you a list of, our Trendsoft's top clients we've heard back from clients, what we think the best parts of BC will be for you if you choose to go with BC, and why I think you really should take this into consideration. The automatic updates. Okay, who has paid for a huge upgrade before and just been really, a lot of money, right? We spend a lot of money on upgrades. There it is. With BC, you have automatic updates. Once you're live, they push out the updates and they're free. So you're always on the latest and the greatest solution. So that's a key takeaway right there. There's streamlined workflows, automation built into built into BC, sorry. And you have the reporting, the Power BI reporting. You've got the Copilot, the AI, all those streamlined in there. The connectivity and the remote connectivity, which is down below. Connectivity meaning it brings everybody together, right? If we are using that with Teams, with Outlook, and we're able to use our BC within Teams and connect and share data, it's bringing everybody together. With remote connectivity, you can work anywhere. You don't have to VPN anymore. You don't have to go into a remote desktop. You don't get kicked out of the server. It is literally all the time up and ready for you to go. Microsoft has developed a lot in their training program on Microsoft Learn for BC. There are a lot of training resources out there. There are a lot of videos. They have the BC YouTube channel. Trendsoft has a lot of help for you guys as well. So there's a lot of training options. Big key, I put it in capitals here, reduce costs. And that's kind of across the board. That's probably saving money on your servers. You don't have to do the upkeep and get new servers all the time. IT team can work on something else. So you've got your resources that are freed up. You've got that grandfathered into software costs. You're not paying for upgrades anymore. updates are automatically pushed out. You can scale users for your busy time of year, add users, take off users, make the system work for you. We really believe that it will reduce the cost. You can spend that money on enhancing the system and increasing and enhancing your productivity in your office. One thing I didn't really touch on before is BC is very customizable. It's you can make it look and feel the way you want it. And I will touch on this in a slide in just a second, but most of our clients don't call in for break fix support. What they call in for is they want a new report developed. They want some changes made in the system. They want it to work for their system. They don't have to make their processes changes to work for the system. They make the system work for them. So we can customize applications. AI, I talked about, Copilot, and then just an overall peace of mind. You know, you've got Microsoft backing, right? You have got this Microsoft product that they have invested a lot of money in. It is their baby right now. It will work with your Outlook. It will be backed up by their team of expertise. There's no more data breaches or no, lower chance of data breaches and no disruptive downtimes. So I think it's just a peace of mind running a system that they are really looking way out into the future for. So, you know, you're saying, okay, that all sounds great. That sounds wonderful. These end of dates are coming up in 4, 5, 6 years. What do I need to do now? And how do I plan for this and navigate this and think about this? Here is a quick snapshot of the migration journey. Again, I don't expect you to go through this, but basically right now, that's what we're doing. We're starting the conversation. My main goal of this call is I just don't want you to panic. I don't want people to see that end of life date and say, oh my goodness, we are so behind. What are we going to do? I want you to know that TrendSoft is here for you. I'm here for you. I've been working with you guys for a long time. We just want to make sure that you know what's going on, that would be very transparent. So starting the conversation. Then we're going to run an assessment. We're going to see where you're at today, see where you want to go in the future. We'll get that implementation plan defined. We'll test, we'll train, we'll go live, right? Easy peasy. um, so that's the whole migration journey in a nutshell. But let me break it down for you just a little bit because I'm going to highlight some really, really important pieces of this. A, let's plan. Again, let's get a plan in place, whether it's 1 year from now or 3 years from now, 6 months from now, whatever it is, we need to get a plan in place for your assessment or for your migration. And what I would like to propose and what I propose to most clients, and they've done it, is a needs assessment or a process workshop. We will come on site with you or via the web if that works better for you. And we're going to look at everything you do in GP today. We're going to take a hard look at that, see what fits into BC, what changes will need to be made, what changes or cleanup we need to make in your organization at the time, some processes. After that process workshop or that needs assessment, we'll come up with a good scope, quote, migration plan, timeline, and then present it to you and say, okay, let's get a game plan now. When do we want to do this? Do we want to do it in 6 months? Do we want to do it in 18 months? What works best for your organization? And again, that's where we're going to have to work together to make sure that we get you success in this. Once that's done, we have our dates and plan and we have all our timelines outlined. We're going to start the development and integration process with the implementation and the data migration. And then we're going to get to another very important part is the testing, right? Very, very important because we can't obviously go live without significant testing of, hey, this is, just because this worked in GP and this is how we did it in GP, we might not be able to do it in BC that way. We're going to have to invest some time in training because again, I know you guys and you have been using GP for a long time. Some people are not going to want to change. So we're going to have to work together to train everybody, get them involved and up to speed and on board with this new system. So training is going to be very important and we cannot overlook that. Once we have training, we have testing signed off, we're going to go live. A wonderful point about this is, again, I touched on this a little bit. Looking through our service tickets of our TrendSoft, we have very few break fix supports in BC. Whereas I know you GP folks, you know There's batch hangups. You've been kicked out of the system. A check won't print. There are so many things that people call us in for on a daily basis that things just happen in GP. Break fix support is really relevant in GP. With BC, it's not that way anymore. It's online. And quite frankly, there's just not that many breaks that come up. Again, most of the time people call us, it's for customizations, for development, or for, hey, I had this idea that I want to do this, and then we make it happen. So I don't think ongoing support is going to be a big problem. Again, another time saver and another money saver. So once you're live on BC, again, your upgrades are free and they're pushed out. They have 2 a year, 2 major upgrades a year, and I believe they're October and April. And you'll see significant changes in that. Pretty much, like I said, they're investing a lot of money in this product. So you'll see significant changes. And then every month or so, maybe a little bit more often, they push out hot fixes or just quick little fixes, and we will work with you to get those pushed out in your environment. Everybody has to agree and be on board and test if need be, but those are automatically pushed out. So you are always on the latest and greatest solution. There are no more, oh, we are 6 versions back and we have to jump, and our upgrade costs $200,000 and all this stuff. You're just automatically going to be in that the greatest and newest release with BC. And like I said, they keep pushing money in it. So it just keeps getting better. There are always constant improvements with not only with BC, but ISV improvements. They're and the app source, like I told you, they are improving those that software all the time as well. Okay, so that's the implementation process. That's a little bit about BC. Now, on to our next step. Again, we're going to have a series of these webinars. So this is, today is just to kind of get the conversation started, get the juices flowing in there about what we need to do. But I did want to remind you of the dates of the April 25th date, GP perpetual licenses. They're not going to be sold after this. So I do want to put this in your head. And I'm not advocating staying on GP, but if you are going to stay on GP and I am never, ever, ever leaving this product and you think you might grow as a business, we might want to think about purchasing some additional licensing if you do grow. Again, that's conversations we'll have one-on-one, but I did want to keep that date in mind. They're not going to sell any more perpetual licenses after that date. And September 30th, 2029 is the big D-Day date, the date. They are going to stop all the tax updates, service tax, and tech support. And then in 2031, they're going to end of security updates. So, point, stay current on your enhancement and stay current on the current version. So I think there's going to be another update coming October. So we'll want to make sure we get everybody scheduled for that. And I will work with you to schedule that. I think I sent an email out earlier this week about the updates. So you should have gotten that. So what are you going to do now? You got all this information. You still don't know what do I want to do? Well, let's just start planning. Let's start that conversation, okay? We're in the plan now stage. We're in the let's talk to Trendsoft. Let's see what they think. Let's schedule maybe a demo of the BC to take a look at it. But in that realm, let's schedule a process workshop and a needs assessment in the next few months. Let's go ahead and get that on the table so that we can get you a game plan. We can start that migration talk and just to see what's best for your organization. Also, if you are in that budgeting stage this year or even next year when you're thinking about it, we might want to start to think about putting some money into a budget for an implementation. Again, after that process workshop or that needs assessment, you'll have the scope and quote. So you'll have an idea of how much it will cost. And if you're current on your enhancement plan, which I hope all of you guys are, you will be grandfathered in if we do this in the next couple of years to have the licensing for BC. So those are my 4 kind of takeaways that I want you to do is just start planning. Let's schedule an assessment or process workshop. Let's schedule a demo and let you see the product. And then let's get the information in your budget. Again, I won't read through these, but we've had several clients that we've already migrated from GP to BC. And it's not easy. It's not an easy process. Migrations and implementations are never easy, but the benefit is is pretty powerful and is pretty amazing. And I haven't heard anybody really complain. And quite frankly, most of them have been very, very happy. So again, you'll have this slide deck if you'd like, and you can read through those. Again, Trendsoft is here to help. I'm here to help. I think I know most of you guys. You can have this slide deck. You can take a look at the URLs. Feel free to email me, to call me. If you need to check out BC support, you can enter in a support ticket, obviously at bcsupport at trendsoft.com. Check out the BC YouTube channels, check out our blogs, and we'll be having more and more of these webinars coming up. We do BC demos once a month, so be sure to check that out and register for one of those. We'd like to have a client come on to kind of give testimonials of what it is actually like after a migration from GP to BC. So stay tuned because we'll have some cool things coming up this year. Again, thank you so much for listening in today. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat session, and we will be back in just a minute to answer some questions. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, we are on here now to answer any questions. If anybody wants to put a question in the chat, we're happy to help. All right, I am not seeing any questions in the chat. Am I missing anything? Let's see. If anybody wants a copy of the presentation, feel free to drop this into the Q&A, into the chat or the Q&A, or feel free to email me at any time. Again, I think I know most of you guys on the call, so just shoot me an email, and I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation with most of you, and I will be reaching out, if you haven't heard from me already, to schedule a one-on-one or a quick conversation about this. I'll check one more time for questions. I don't see any. I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar, but again, feel free to reach out at any time, and I really appreciate you guys being on the call today.